we're all kind of thrust in this stay-at-home, work from home environment. And if you're working for a larger firm, you've no doubt got an IT department who is giving you all kinds of protocols to follow on how to maintain the security of your data, because there's a lot of data floating around out there over the internet, and you've got your computers that are obviously, there's a reason why people try to steal data off of computers. There's a lot of sensitive information there. And for lawyers, we have our client information, which if that's compromised, it raises a whole different host of problems. So I've got some things to go through with you here, just very briefly. This is mostly geared to the solo and small firm practitioner, because a lot of this is going to have been addressed already if you're in a mid-size or larger firm within your practice. But just some things to think about that hopefully you're already doing, but if you're not, I just want to raise the awareness. The first thing you can do, particularly on Windows machines, is update your software. If you've got security software that's out of date, there's a lot of activity going on. The hackers are really trying hard to exploit this situation where you've got potentially a reduced level of security with folks doing their work, their client work, and work in any industry, really. So double check your software, make sure that if you've got security software on your machines, that it's up to date and will offer you some degree of protection against the folks trying to do evil in the world. Next is secure your internet connection. So we can advance to the next bullet, Larry. If you're using a home Wi-Fi network and you're not wireless access protection, setting it up with a password, that is a big no-no. What they tell you is don't go to Starbucks and use the Starbucks free Wi-Fi without some kind of protection, and you don't want to do that at your house either. It seems unlikely, but it's not all that far-fetched to think that someone could park in your neighborhood and hack internet connections pretty easily. There are devices, one I can think of is called a Pineapple, where the person can basically see what you're doing on the internet if you're not in a secure connection. So if you're on Wi-Fi, just be sure at the first level to go ahead and implement the password protection that comes with every Wi-Fi system. Next is virtual private networks. This goes kind of hand in hand with the previous bullet. You've all heard the phrase VPNs. Firms of any size practically have them to allow their lawyers to log in remotely, and a lot of that is being used extensively right now. But VPNs are not just for the larger firms. There are services out there that will allow you to purchase a VPN service. It doesn't require anything but a very easy software download, and they're very reasonably priced. I happen to use one that's called Tunnel Bear, and it's kind of cutesy in its design. It literally is a bear that growls if there's something bad going on. But it's actually very effective, and I have it set where it will not allow me to access the internet unless it goes through the Tunnel Bear tunnel. And then I am assured that my data is being protected by this virtual private network. It basically acts like a tunnel, literally, where the internet connection is passed completely through this software, and all the information is locked down through a password, and the VPN actually monitors the connection and makes sure that everything is kosher. So that's actually a very easy service to arrange and get. If you're having any doubt about the security of your internet at home, a VPN is the way to go. We should all be, I think, using a password manager, and hand in hand with that comes the idea of strong passwords. Please don't type out password or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 as your 10-digit password. In this day and age, anyone using a computer, you ought to know better, but if you don't, please listen to what I'm saying on this. We've heard stories about folks getting hacked because they're not using proper passwords, or they're using the same password over and over again, and that is definitely an invitation to trouble. Password managers actually will help you generate strong passwords, And by strong password, it's the sort of cryptic character, alphanumeric sort of string that you see. You don't want to write that down on a sticky and try to keep up with it that way. That defeats the purpose even at home. You want to use a password manager such as 1Password, which is what I use. LastPass is another popular one. There are several out there that are really good. But what that does is it basically, kind of like what I was saying about TunnelBear or VPN, your data basically passing through that tunnel to keep it secure and keep everyone else out of the tunnel. The password manager tracks all your passwords, and all you have to do, for example, in 1Password, is literally know one password. And if you access that password and then the software, it will immediately pull up any of the actual passwords that you have for a particular site or service. And it has an autofill feature that allows you to enter that information. It actually is pretty much automated so that you don't have to go around retyping things. It's a very effective way of managing passwords. And those managers actually will help you generate strong passwords and save them on their systems so that you can really ensure the security of your data. Multi-factor authentication, those are, you will see that a lot with your access to your banking apps on your phone. They'll want you to provide your your cell phone number to get a text to authenticate you are who you say you are. It's a good idea generally, even before the coronavirus, to have your online account set up with multi-factor authentication so that, if someone does manage to steal your password and log into Dropbox and to where they're trying to download your client files and steal them, and your client files have potentially sensitive financial information in them. By setting up multi-factor authentication, you have to have your device with you before you can access the account from a new source, a new computer, different device. So if someone were to hack you and you had multi-factor set up, the second level of security there would most likely cause the hacker's attempt to fail because they wouldn't be holding your cell phone in their hand when they went to log in. The next topic, very briefly, Larry, if we'll get the next bullet up, is phishing and social engineering attacks. We've all seen the emails that look like they come from Bank of America or eBay or PayPal saying your account has been compromised. Click here and log in to fix it. That's a classic phishing scheme, and those have gotten somewhat easier to spot just because 99% of the time the email address that they're coming from is obviously not from the institution. So that's the first thing to look at when it comes to a phishing attack. There are a lot more sophisticated social engineering attacks going on. People are getting text messages. They're getting phone calls. There's even a fair amount of stuff going on social media these days, all these strange Facebook friend requests you get that you're thinking, oh, I thought I was already friends with that person. Well, it could be a social engineering attack designed to get you to reveal confidential information from your friend. Another real classic example of this problem is the email from the partner in your law firm saying, I need you to wire $20,000 to this client immediately. And there are firms that have actually fallen victim to that scam. So if you get emails that look a little strange, think twice before clicking on any links. This is something to be aware of in this age, because with the increase in number of folks working from home, we're all pretty much working from home right now. And the decrease in overall security, it's sort of created this environment where phishing and these other social engineering attacks are likely to bear fruit for these folks that are out to do bad things. So finally, I want to talk just briefly about Zoom security. We're all, those of you that have signed up for a Zoom account to use in your practice, congratulations, because I think that's a positive step, and it's something that I think we're going to see have a lasting effect with court systems going to Zoom as sort of the go-to video provider. I just learned this morning that the Texas Supreme Court has now set several oral arguments for April, for this month, that are going to take place remotely and over Zoom. If you haven't checked out the Supreme Court's website, it's got links to, in addition to all the various emergency orders for COVID, what the court has done is created a group Zoom account that provides a Zoom license to pretty much all of our district judges and I think county court judges in Texas. We've had hundreds and hundreds of judges sign up for a Zoom account, and now some are conducting remote hearings over Zoom. And it's interesting because the way that they're handling the open courts problem with respect to Zoom hearings is they're broadcasting the proceedings over YouTube Live. So I would encourage you, if you haven't heard about this, to dig around and learn about it, because I think based on the current situation we're in, we're going to be seeing more court proceedings being handled over Zoom. And there's an active discussion in Twitter about this. A couple of our state district judges away from Austin, one is Judge Emily Miskell from Collin County, and the other who's done a lot of work on this is Judge Roy Ferguson from Far West Texas. If you're on Twitter and will follow them, you will learn a lot about what the judges are talking about in terms of how to present evidence, deal with witnesses. This is all evolving at a very rapid pace. And I think we're going to see a real benefit in that we're going to be able to continue the business of courts using Zoom if we can get all the judges on board and get them all set up with their accounts and get the court coordinators used to scheduling things and dealing with the logistics. But it is very much on the court's radar right now. And so that's definitely coming. But this is relevant to this topic of Zoom roulette and Zoom bombing. Zoom roulette essentially is a hacker gets on and just starts entering random information until they can hack into a live Zoom call, because unless you change certain settings in Zoom, your default address doesn't include the sort of secure, password, complex password kind of information. It can be just a word or a series of numbers. And so folks have had success with hacking into Zoom calls. And this is not really a big problem, as I'll get to here shortly, with small groups or one-on-one calls, because you obviously know that someone's there who doesn't belong. But it's a problem with respect to larger groups. If you've got 100 people on a call, it's a little harder to monitor who's on and who's not. The Zoom bombing part is particularly disturbing, because what's happened is there have been some groups who have followed the same strategy and have entered into Zoom meetings and posted anti-Semitic or racist propaganda and comments in places where they don't belong. And so this is something to be aware of and to be on the lookout for. If we'll move on to the next bullet, Larry, I think we can wrap it up. And I've already covered this to some degree, but there's a few easy steps that you can take. If you're a Zoom newbie, just keep this in mind. You might read up on it a little bit, but as I said a moment ago, for small meetings, you'll know if somebody gets on the call who shouldn't be there, and you can immediately kick them out of the call. For larger meetings or meetings where you're disclosing a lot of attorney-client information, for example, if you're meeting with the client over Zoom, Zoom has a setting where you can incorporate a password pretty easily and just make sure that the participants have that password. That will also prevent anyone accessing a larger meeting who shouldn't be there as well. So I don't know if we have any questions. It doesn't appear that we do about the technological part of this talk, but certainly you can feel free to reach out to me about that directly. You can find my information on the Austin Bar website under board, I believe is where it is, or you can email me at todd@appealsplus.com, and I'd be happy to help answer any questions regarding the technological aspects of this.